Welcome to Victory Chat with Jackie Mckeever. I'm your host, Jackie Mckeever, and this is Victory Chat where your victory starts here. On Victory Chat, we talk about everything from self-development to business, all with the goal of helping you take your life and business back. So right now, I'm doing a series called Behind the Author's Pen. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Lorrie Arevalo. Yay, I said it right. Lorrie Arevalo. And she wrote the book called Free. Welcome, Lorrie. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So for Behind the Author's Pen, we put the authors in the hot seat and we asked them 10 questions about them and their book. Are you ready for the
Ready.
You ready for the questions?
I'm ready.
All right. Because we're going to get all up in your business, honey.
That's all right.
Okay. So the first question is, why did you write this book?
I decided to write this book purposely titled Free because during the process of my healing of what my past, what I was dealing with, I learned so much about myself. I learned about the trauma that I suffered. And there were so many things that I didn't know that I just felt compelled to help other survivors and victims and their families with healing and getting free of their past. So I just felt compelled to share some of the things that I went through, as well as how I was able to overcome.
So how long did it take you to write the book?
I started writing the book August 2017, and I finished it around October 2018. So it was like 14 months to get
That's
it
good.
written and to my editor.
So were there any delays in producing or writing the book?
I wouldn't really say there were delays as much as the publishing learning curve. My editor and book coach encouraged me to self-publish. So I went through a book coach who actually owns Cultivate the Writer, and she encouraged me to self-publish. So that process of learning how to self-publish through Kindle Direct Publishing, doing several cover formats and revisions to make sure that it was going to load properly. That was a big learning curve, but everything got loaded and it worked out. It was a success. So I would just say it was a learning curve, not really delays.
The next question is, who is the book for?
So that was one of the things we discussed between myself and the book coach is, who am I writing this book for? And this book is written for survivors, their friends, their families, survivors of violence, whether it's domestic violence or sexual assault, people that have been molested growing up or have dealt with any type of domestic violence, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, financial, whatever type of domestic violence they may have suffered, people who are struggling with forgiving themselves, getting over their past, their trauma, their pain. This book is to speak to them and let them know you can be free.
I know that's right. I love that.
You can be free. You can be set free of these things of your past. You can overcome low self-esteem. You can overcome feeling like you're less than. You can overcome all of that. You don't have to feel guilty or shame of things that happened to you. Also, infertility is in my book because I suffered infertility at one point in my life, but I was an overcomer when it comes to that too, because I have 2 boys.
Yay!
I have 2 miracle babies that I was not supposed to be able to conceive. So you can be free. And when you're free,
awesome.
You can walk in victory in different areas of your life.
This is one of my questions, but I see you got victory and it looks like you got it on your t-shirt. What does that say? Victory over
violence. This is a nonprofit. nonprofit that was birthed out of my book.
Oh, that is
And
pretty.
free is the name of my shirt because this is my promo shirt for my book. But we'll talk about the letters later. You're gonna get to that.
Okay. Okay. I just was looking at that pretty background. I was like, oh, okay. So the next question is, have you ever written a book before or had anything published before?
Actually, during the process of writing this book, I also was journaling. And that's kind of how the book came about, through journaling. But I also write poems. My
Mm-hmm.
poems have not been published, but I have published as a co-author of the Purpose Women 365-Day Devotional, which ended up being an
Mm.
Amazon bestseller. I wrote 2 different passages in that journal. I've also had opportunities to write different workshops, put together workshops. I teach, facilitate those workshops. But my journal, it's very personal to me, but I also have the poems that I eventually do want to publish the poems. Harmonies from the Heart is the name of the poem collection.
Ooh, sounds good. Will there be other books in the genre like the book, like the free book?
Yes. My book coach told me when I was done, she was like, "You're not finished. You
I'm
have
glad she
another."
told you that.
She told me, she's like, "You're not finished. You can," because I have a workbook at the end of free. Um,
Oh,
and in the end, it spells out the FREE. But aside from that, I do want to eventually talk about my struggles in the healing process of staying free, staying
mm,
balanced.
that part
Um,
right there.
yeah, my children's father that I was married to, we got divorced. And I think a lot of it was because of things I had not dealt with at that time. So yeah, there's gonna be a part two. Um,
Yes, I'm glad. So, what do you want the readers to get from reading your book?
I would like to, for the readers and the audience that I'm trying to reach, to know that they can be free. They can be free from
Yes,
shame. They can be free from pain. You have to go through a process, but through that process, you can grow. And so, a part of my book at the end, when I break out FREE, I teach that forgiveness is number one. Forgiveness from forgiving yourself, forgiving the person that will never apologize to you. That's the F. The R is renewing your mind, realizing who you are. Um,
mm,
I'm a child of faith, so really realizing who I am in God and who God says that I am. I had to remember that. E, educating about abuse and violence and all these things and all the different forms that it can take, and taking that education and empowering yourself and empowering others. That's how you get to free. And
that's
that's what I want
beautiful.
people to learn when they read this book and understand.
That's beautiful. What other books or authors inspire you?
Oh, wow. I've had some really good mentors through this process. Couple of survivors, Tamika Lowry Pugh, Tanika Latrice Stewart, both wrote books that inspired me to say, if they can tell their truth and be this transparent, I can too. But aside from that, oh gosh, some of the inspiring authors that got me through some tough times was Joyce Meyer's You Can Begin Again. Why?
Mm,
Because You're Anointed is the other book that just, it hit home for me. God, why am I going through this? Why can't I have children? I'm doing all this work. Why? Because you're anointed. He had a bigger purpose for me. TD Jakes' Instinct, Maximize the Moment. Both of those books just took me through transitions in my life of maximizing the moment. Pushed me to go forward and get my other master's degrees and MBAs and PAs, and just keep going. Maximize the moment. You can't stop.
that's good. I just want to sit here and listen. I have to remember, Jackie, you doing the interview. You got to ask the next question now.
It's
Okay.
okay. It's okay.
What advice would you give um other people writing books?
I would say if it's their first writing, there's nothing wrong with hiring a book coach. And for me, I I would say I have a lot of education. I have several degrees, but I know what I don't know. And what I did not know was how to publish a book. And so I hired a book coach and she worked with me. She made me address things that I did not want to address. She made me talk about things that were hard to talk about. And she said, Laura, you about to put your business out there. Are you ready? And
Mm.
then she said, but in the process, you're going to be free and you're going to set someone else free. And that alone made me say, okay, I got to do this. So hiring a book coach that can take your content, put it in a logical order where it flows. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. And then self-publishing. She really encouraged me to self-publish so that I own the rights to my story. And it was a lot of work. I had to learn new software. You're learning Kindle Direct Publishing and how that works, and Amazon, but it was worth it because it's worldwide. Anybody
Mm-hmm.
that wants a copy can get a copy. Anyone that wants an ebook, they can get it. I don't have to deal with some publishing house that I had to write a check for up front.
Mm-hmm.
So it was time well spent. Definitely time well spent. So a book coach, self-publishing, I would tell anyone that is ready.
Before we move on to our final question, I just want to make a statement. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to share your story, whether that's through writing or through your words, especially after you've gone through some healing, you'll discover
Mhm.
there's another level to it.
Oh yeah.
And each time you reach a person and they begin to get healed, you'll
Hmm.
discover a level of your
Hmm.
healing. Because the
Yes.
thing, and that's where the overflow when it comes to healing uh comes from, because it's a continuous domino effect.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Yes.
just stop with that one period of time. It's a continue period.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you empower other people, you feel empowered, you feel stronger. And I believe that's where the I'm courageous, that's part of one of my slogans. I'm free, I'm courageous, I am victorious. Because letting it go, just letting go of that pain and understanding it and being able to empower someone else to say, hey, you can do this, you can walk in victory. Take it one day at a time, but you can do this. It's another level of healing, that I felt like I needed to share. And here comes the nonprofit, and we've been up and running since 2017. Next year will be 5 years, and the number of people that have been impacted just from educating folks all over the state of Florida it's been amazing. And I know it's nothing but God.
Mm-hmm. And it's because you said yes to your calling.
Yeah.
The final question is, can you give the listeners a blurb or sneak peek what's in your book and let them know where they can find it?
Yes. So Free was written to share my journey from overcoming sexual assault in college, domestic violence, and infertility in my first marriage. This transparent and sometimes heartbreaking account that I give of my pain and my shame, of past traumas in my life. Um, this book, I take you through the journey of becoming free and finding freedom, which was only found in me forgiving myself and forgiving people who never apologized to me, as well as the love of God that showed me that I was not what happened to me. This book is written to help victims of sexual violence, domestic violence, people struggling with unforgiveness, infertility, to get past their pain,
Mm.
getting survivors to free and living in victory. The book is available on Amazon.com. It's available in ebook or paperback.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You were finna say something else. Go
Oh,
ahead.
and I have a website, authorlorrie.wixsite.com/free. It's also available there.
And Lorrie is spelled Lorrie.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that because,
Yes.
Lorrie can be spelled a different way.
It sure can. It sure can.
All right. I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing a bit about you and about your journey and about your book. Y'all make sure y'all go to her website, y'all sign in or whatever she got offering. Because I'm telling you, even today, like I've spoken to several authors today, and there is a marvelous move in women authors. And when I set my sights on that, it wasn't purposely just to connect with women, but these courageous women, they said yes to a calling, told their story, and so that you don't have, so you'll know for two reasons. This is what I believe. One reason is so that they can share the answer to whatever the situation you're looking for. And number two, to let you know you're not alone. You're not alone in it. Because a lot of times we feel like we're alone, and you don't have to be alone.
No.
We can do this together.
Yes.
We are stronger together.
Yes.
Anyway,
absolutely.
I'm not trying to preach today. So I want to thank everyone for listening to Victory Chat. One thing I want you to know is that your victory starts here. Thank you so much.